Hey, what's going on, my YouTube peoples? How are y'all feeling? Today, I'm going to talk about TV calibration. This is a big subject that I'm very passionate about. I've been calibrating TVs, if you can believe it, since the age of 12. Yeah. My mother had an old school color TV that we first got, and when she turned it on, we would watch TV shows and stuff like that, but it never really quite looked right to me. And so, even at that young of an age that I was, um, I knew that the TV, there had to be a way to get the TV to look better than what it looked when you first plug it in. And so the TV had three dials. It had one for brightness, the other one for color, and the other one for hue. And I started messing around with those dials until I can get the TV to look as realistic as I can possibly get it. And since then, I've been extremely passionate about TV calibration because I could see the benefits in calibrating your TV and getting it to, I would say, to the point where what the director of like a movie or TV show had intended you to 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 watch the TV show as. You know what I mean? As far as like color and brightness and all that good stuff. So today I'm going to show you guys how I calibrate TVs and how I calibrated this one and every TV I've ever calibrated. Now, there is software out there that you can use. There's discs that you can buy. Disney has a good one. It's called Disney Wow World of Wonder calibration discs. That's pretty good. But the software that I use is a software called AVS HD 709 calibration. And it's a free software that you can download right off the internet. You can Google it, AVS HD 709 calibration. It'll be the first link, and you just click on that link and then scroll down a little bit until you see MP4 files. And you'll see two links. You'll see one that's exe, and the other one will be zip. The one you want is the zip, so that way you can unzip it, create a folder, unzip it into that folder, and then put it on a USB flash drive. And then with the USB flash drive, you can plug it into the TV. Most TVs nowadays have USB inputs, so you can just plug it into the TV and calibrate your TV right from the USB flash drive with that software. So in this case, I have the software installed on my NAS drive, and so I access it through Kodi. And so what we're gonna do, we're gonna go into basic settings, and the first one is black clipping. This is where you adjust brightness. Okay, so we're gonna click on that. And I don't know if you can see it, I hope you can, but you'll see a bunch of lines that's flashing, right? So right in the middle, you'll see something called reference black. That's where the writing is. Right in the center, right over here. See, it says reference black. All right. So you see these lines flashing. So let me get my remote here, and let me go to menu, picture, go to expert settings, and then go to brightness, right? So as I raise the brightness, you see all these lines flashing. Now what you want is where it says reference black, you want that completely black, and the line next to it to the right, you want it to be barely visible. Okay? So you'll dial down the brightness all the way down until you get it just at the right point. See? So as I dial it down, you see how the reference black is almost becoming fully black, and the one next to it is like barely visible. So for me, 50 is right where I want it to be, right there. That's about right. Actually, that's perfect. That's exactly where I want it to be. All right. So we've just set the brightness. All right. So all of the lines that were on the right hand side, they're all disappeared. You can't see them at all. And the ones on the left, up to where it says reference black, is where you want to see it flashing. Right on reference black, you want it to be all black, to the point where you can't see no flashing, and the line next to it, you want to see that barely visible flash, right? And the rest of the lines, you can clearly see them flashing. That's how you know that you set the brightness perfectly. All right, so we're gonna move on because we've already got that perfect. Okay, so we're gonna move on to clipping, and this is where you set the contrast. So we're gonna move on to this. All right, now contrast. We're gonna go to menu. Gonna go to expert settings. Gonna go to contrast. Okay. All right. So contrast. I don't know if you can see it, but the lines on the top where it's blinking, right up on the top where the whites are. All right. If I raise the contrast to its fullest, you see all of these are barely blinking. You can hardly see. You see all whites way past where it says reference, where it says white. It's all white, and there's hardly any blinking until at the very end. That's wrong. You don't want that. So you want to lower down the contrast. And for me, 90 is perfect. You can't see it in the camera, but I assure you, I can see it on my TV, and that's perfect. That's a perfect setting right there. So what we're accomplishing is the last line, the 247 line, is completely white, and the line next to it, the 246 line, is blinking. You can see some activity there. You can see some blinking, and that's what you want. All right. So we've adjusted the contrast perfectly. Also, the lines, make sure that they're all gray. If you see any pink or anything like that, lower down the contrast a little bit, because that means that the contrast is still too high. All right, so you want to lower it down a little bit until all the lines that are blinking are gray. All right, and the last line on the left is completely white. Okay, so we've adjusted the contrast. So we're going to move on. Okay, so now we're going to do color. All right. I'm going to show the flashing bars. Let me pause this. Now, for this portion, we're going to adjust the color and the hue. Now, for this, you're going to need a blue filter. All right. It's like they come in the form of like glasses or some sort of like cardboard thing where you can get in the mail. You can purchase it through Amazon. It costs like about $2 or $3. They're not very expensive, and it's called a blue filter for calibration. Okay. However, some TVs come with a built-in filter, with a built-in blue filter. I say TVs about 4 to 5 years old will more likely come with will have an internal blue filter. So I'm going to show you how to access that now. If you own a Samsung, this is more than likely how you access it. So you go to menu, and then you go to expert settings, and you go all the way down till you see RGB mode. All right, that's what you want. You want RGB mode. Select RGB mode, select blue, and there you go. Get out of that. Get that blinking again. Okay, so the idea of this is to have all of the you're gonna see some blinking, right? And so the idea is to limit the blinking to where it's hardly blinking and everything is the blue color, like a solid color, a solid blue color. That's what you want. If it's off a little bit, that means the color is wrong. So what we're trying to do here is get a solid blue color throughout the entire screen with as minimal blinking as possible. All right. So for this TV, it's adjusted perfectly. But let me see if I can, let me go to menu. Let me see if I can get it off a little bit. See if you guys can see it off. So what we do, first thing you do is I do is